Hey guys, welcome to the Good Stuff Podcast. I'm Derek.
And I'm Ashley. Both raised in Marysville, Ohio, we decided to stay here and raise a family and start two small businesses because we absolutely love our community.
We just want to take some time to celebrate the good people, places, and things here in our community that we love and share some of that good stuff with you.
So, enjoy the good stuff.
All right, guys, welcome to the Good Stuff Podcast. I am not even sure what episode this is. Are we on 9? I think 9 or 10. Anyway, so thanks for sticking with us, or thanks for joining us if you're just now joining us. We have the lovely Kathy Rohrs with us to talk some good stuff here about the community. Woo!
Yeah, a couple weeks ago, or I don't know, episodes ago, we talked a lot about the need for people to feel like they're a part of a community, belong to something. And as I was like, it was just Derek and I, we weren't interviewing anybody. But as I was like reading some studies and we were just having the conversation, I'm like, nobody in my mind builds community in a authentic way better than Kathy Rohrs. I need to send her a message.
That's generous.
And so here you are. Here you are. So let's just start by you introducing yourself. Who are you? I almost said where are you from, but we know. But talk about that. Yeah.
My name is Kathy Rohrs. I'm married to my high school sweetheart, Eric, and we're from Marysville. So I'm always like recruiting people. Like, you should come live in Marysville.
Yes.
It's a great place.
Yes.
You want to be here.
You do want to be here.
Yeah. So we live here in Marysville. We have 3 kids. They're 10, 8, and 2, all girls.
Yes.
And we just love being here. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Kathy and I grew up, like 5 houses away from each other?
Yeah.
Yep.
And we had science class together once, I think.
Oh,
Look at that.
I try to block out all science class memories, but that is where I met Eric in a physics class.
I think that was it.
Okay.
I was trying to, because there's a lot of things in my head that I feel like I make up from, or
Yeah,
I made up. And so, but I'm pretty sure, I remember you guys started dating there.
Yeah.
Was that Finley?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that was
okay.
Unfortunately, we never got to see the monkey.
No, we didn't.
Oh, yeah.
For all of you that didn't get to experience Mr.
Yeah.
Finley, he had a monkey that he used to bring to class, but we didn't get to experience
Yeah.
Yeah.
it. Anyway, so yeah. Sorry. You guys
That's
grew
all
up close together, and we had a science class together.
That's right.
You
I just
experienced
had to throw
the
myself into the ring.
start of their love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
there
great.
you go. So, okay, talking about community. Your home, your neighborhood, church, your kids' school, all of that. Let's just talk about why building community to you is so important. Let's start there.
I think people are really lonely and maybe they don't even know it. And we might mask it with busyness or just getting really involved in things, but not having people we can rely on or having people that we can trust or people that we can depend on. And so it's something that's really important to me for people to know that they have a place where they belong and for them to know they're not alone. And so I'm always thinking of ways that we can do that better or ways we can create opportunities for people to feel involved in things.
Yeah.
And I just try to do it the places where I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think too, like I've seen you, I think sometimes it feels a little bit like, oh, my kid is involved in this sport. And so I'm going to have to be like, friends with those soccer moms or the dance moms or whatever, which is great. I think a lot of great relationships are, formed there. But I've seen you just be like, hey, we live in the same town. Let's be community together, or we live in the same little neighborhood. I remember like when, COVID was happening and it's like you were doing, like little mini, I don't know, block party is the right word. But
we did an outdoor VBS
in
our neighborhood.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where it's just like, I don't necessarily know what your kids are participating in, but hey, we're in physical, proximity to each other, or we just
Geographic, remember?
That's right. He's like not physical.
I'm
He should
joking.
just say
Geographic, yeah.
She said physical proximity. I'm like, that's a little.
That's a little close. Not that close.
Yeah, no. Weirdo. Anyway, yeah, I just feel like it's it doesn't really matter what activities your kids participate in. It doesn't really matter what kids they go to school or what school district they're in, but like we're friends on Facebook. So, hey, do you want to be in community? I mean, it's just I feel like every time I've seen you reach out and create it, it's in this very like genuine, I just want you to know you're like, I heard you preach one time, a person of worth. So we should be in community together. Like you belong in my life, right? It's just, yeah. Anyway, it's beautiful how authentic you are when you do that. Share with us some stories of joy or resiliency or togetherness that have come out of some of the relationships that you have built, which cause you to continue to invest time in them.
Yeah. I think one of the things that when it comes to community is I try to follow nudges. Like I believe that God puts kind of nudges on our hearts to do things. And there are lots of times I don't follow those nudges.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's embarrassing. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
And then there are times I do that and it comes at a perfect time. Like
Sure.
I can think of a time when a friend had a baby who was hospitalized. And I just sent them a Panera gift card. Like,
Yeah.
I felt a nudge to do it. And so Eric and I did that.
Yeah.
And they were like, literally, that could not have come at a more perfect moment in our lives. I didn't know that. I couldn't orchestrate
Sure.
that. And there have been other times that I haven't done it, or I've done something that I thought I should, and like maybe no one even cared or noticed. But just to
Sure.
keep doing it, and
Yeah.
we don't really know the impact of those things.
Yeah.
But one of the things for me is I have been so touched by the ways people have done that in my life. And
Sure.
how I've how I've received that from other people.
Sure.
I was going through a really hard season at work and just a lot going on in life. And one night I get a text from the girls who were in my high school youth ministry life group. And it was like 9:00 and they were like, look out your back window. And I was like, oh gosh.
Yeah.
And they were
Who
all
toilet papered our house?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was like, what did they do? And they were all standing at the back window of my living room like creepers.
Yeah.
But they had ice cream. They were like, let us in. We brought you ice cream.
Perfect.
And it meant so much to me.
Yes.
And it was a very simple thing for them to do.
Yes.
But I've received so much like that and know what a difference it makes. How could I not? How could I not want to share that with other people? And for people to have those people in their lives. So.
Yeah. I think reminding ourselves to be intentional about like doing those small things or one time our challenge one week was, if there's somebody who's done something impactful in your life, maybe you haven't talked to in a while, just write them a quick little note, like how meaningful stuff like that really can be to people. Yeah. Yeah. How are you teaching the lesson of, kind of including everybody or building community to your girls? How does I didn't send you that question ahead of time. It just popped into my head. As like a mom, I'm like, I have tiny ones, but it's an important lesson that I think people can learn when they're tiny and hopefully grow up and it just becomes natural.
Yeah. I don't know if you see like Advent or there's like challenges, do something nice, random act of kindness.
Yeah.
Like every day
World
of
Kindness
Advent
Day or something like that. Yeah.
I don't do any of those things.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I forget I set us up for failure.
Yeah, sure.
And so we just try to integrate them into what we're doing. And when our girls don't feel included or when they feel left out of things, when they don't get what they want,
sure,
we always try to make that a learning opportunity. Like, this can teach you how other people feel when they aren't included or when they get left out. I joke, but it's not a joke at all. I really didn't have like any friends when I went to middle school. And
sure.
There was a girl who invited me to sit with her and became a dear friend to me.
Yeah.
And like, I want my girls to be those types of people who can see others who maybe no one else sees and care for them and put themselves in their shoes. So we try to do it a lot through talking about it. And then we explain, here's why we're hosting all of these people at our house. Here's why you need to clean the basement and let kids play with your toys. Like, we're just going to do it. And so you can hop on board.
This is happening.
Voluntold.
Yeah, that's right. They get voluntold a lot. But then they love doing those types of things.
Sure.
So, most of the time.
Yeah, most of the time.
Yeah, I definitely think as a struggle, as fairly, how what's your oldest, 10, you say?
Yeah, she's 10.
I was going to say, only being 3.5 years into it, that, especially when the tantrums come out or whatever, and trying to evaluate when's a good time to push and, be right and get those things through. Because it's going to have an impact later on. And anyway, so that's good to hear as a relatively new parent compared to 10 years in.
And that tension of doing things naturally and intentionally.
Yeah.
And so I want it to just be part of who we are, but then we also have to pick intentional times to say, invite people over for dinner or go do a thing.
Sure.
But not out of guilt, but out of what's the opportunity in front of me.
Yeah. 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 What about for the people who are like, I have I have 3 kids and they're all involved in things and we work and we're all running in a million different directions. How am I supposed to be doing things to build community? Like, what are those small things? What are those small ways that we can be intentional that really have a big impact? What would those be?
So when I was working at a church, I was paid to do ministry, which was fun. What a dream. So when I became a stay-at-home mom, all of a sudden it was mind-boggling for me. What does this look like? Does anything I do matter? And I heard someone ask the question, and everywhere you are, believe one, God put you there for a reason. Yeah. And he wants to use you where you are. But I asked the question, who are the people I can love and serve right where I am? Yeah. So instead of thinking, who are the people, in Sudan that I can love and serve right now? I want to care about them, but what about right in front of me? So can I be the person who, does a little extra for the soccer team, has them over for a cookout, or the person who volunteers in my kids' elementary school or drops off cookies for the staff? Yeah. Those types of things. Instead of inventing new places to serve, what can I do right where I already am? Sure. And that's really helpful for me because I can get overwhelmed with, well, what about all these other things out here? Well, that's not where I am. So what can I do where I actually am right now?
Yeah, that's a really, really good point because I think it is really easy, especially right now, whether it's things related to the pandemic or right now Ukraine or all of that. And again, not that people out in Ukraine or people that are having a harder time with the pandemic, if I can say that, than we are. It's not that those people don't deserve tons of attention and love and all of the things, but I think it's easy to get caught up in all of those and go, how am I supposed to carve out a whole day to do a fundraiser for blah, you know what I mean? And instead of, I like the way you said that, where are you? What are you currently doing? And how can you just be intentional about impacting those people that you naturally come in contact with? Yeah. That feels manageable, right?
Yeah. It's very easy to pick up a coffee for your dance teacher on the way to class.
Yeah, who likes it, by the way. Or ice cream. Right. Also, I would not be upset if a group of people showed up at my house with ice cream. I'm just saying it's only the best food ever.
They just probably shouldn't knock on your back window. It's a little creepy. But
it would be a little creepy.
Your house is a little more manageable.
Yeah, we live in the middle of the country. So
it'd be a real intentional effort to get to you all. Yeah, but those things, I think it can feel so much like there's so much to do. I get locked up and I can't do anything. And we can all make a difference in the places where we are.
Yeah.
One of my favorite sayings currently, because it changes from week to week, but you're okay where you're at. You're just too good to stay there. Just kind of the idea, you don't need to downplay yourself or, be hard on yourself because you're not where you think you should be or in whatever aspect or situation. But it's okay. You can do one little thing. Yeah. It's not a bad thing that you're not doing something. So kind of that release of you don't have to spend a whole day at a charity event or whatever. Right. But just being able to do whatever you can where you're at to be able to give back.
Yeah. And I'll just say there have been a number of times that I've taken someone a meal or done something that required a little extra for me. And absolutely gotten Wendy's for my family on the way home. Yeah. I can make dinner for one family, but not for 2 families. Yeah. So those pieces are yelling at my family as we walk out the door to go do something. Yeah, absolutely. But just because I'm not doing it perfectly doesn't mean I should just be I can't do this at all.
Sure.
So does that get to be a struggle too with a giving heart? Because I think that's kind of a little bit of the nice guy syndrome of you're not when you're the balance between being selfish and selfless and, do you ever feel like I should take care of my kids? And not to say the Wendy's or anything, but I have those times where, realizing that I should be a little more think inwardly a little less outwardly in different situations and think, oh.
And that's where I think that right where I am, to read a book with my child is incredibly important in that moment. And sometimes I need to invest in my kids and to spend that time with them more than I need to run out someplace else and do something for someone. And so that balance to say, actually, this is loving and serving too. Just to do it right in front of me with my family or with whoever's closest to me. If that's my parents or friends, my family, like if I care about people around the world or around my neighborhood, but if I'm not kind to my family and those closest to me, then it's pointless. That's just hypocrisy.
Well, and I think so much of what we're teaching our kids is just by doing and letting them observe, right? So the conversations for sure, you know, helping them process and explain things, but just them being able to watch is just as important too. Yeah. So all these like mental notes. Have that conversation. Yeah.
Well, and our 10-year-old, she's the official brownie maker in our house now. So if we're having people over or taking food to people or doing something, I'm like, you make a box of brownies. And she loves it. And, you know, it's just store-bought mix. But she makes them, and it's so great because she contributes.
Yes.
And it's her thing. But it also reminds me, like, I need to raise kids who can cook. So I can be off the hook in a few years.
Yes.
Like, this is what I want for myself.
All right, sweetie. Here's the menu for so-and-so. They just had a baby.
I mean, I hear of people who their kids cook dinner, and I'm like, I can't even imagine that life. That's what I want.
Yes. This is my goal.
I'm always a real far out thinker. I was thinking when you said that Thanksgiving and Christmas, like when your grandma and were in that stage of, if that was already turned over by that point.
Maybe it'll skip a generation. I'm hoping I never have to make a turkey. My mom and my other family always do. My in-laws, so like maybe I never will have to.
Please don't make me. I will make all of the rest, but please don't put that stress on me.
That's right.
I don't know what I'm doing.
I'll send my daughters over to learn.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah, that's what we should do.
That's right.
4 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think, going back to your why, right? Because my guess is you probably didn't one day be like, it's important for me to build community as much as it's important for me to just love on people. So in the midst of it has that ever been part of your kind of internal conversation of like, oh, by the way, this is also like giving people a sense of belonging. This is building a community. This is, kind of talk a little bit about your why you do that and kind of how that conversation has played out, in your head.
Because this is what Jesus did for us. I mean, he came to be with us. He didn't like send sparks down from heaven and say, everything's going to be okay. He physically came and walked and suffered for us. And so if I try to do anything outside of that, it's ultimately about me instead of about modeling what he has done. And that's what he's done for me. And so how could I not want to offer that to other people? Yeah. It's not like preaching or just doing things, but it's living out what it means to love others. And it does involve self-sacrifice, not like losing our self-identity in that, but some amount of sacrifice. It's not about me. It's not about just what I want. It's about caring for others. And I think it's what brings him glory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I love it.
Yeah. And it's fun. It's not always fun. But it is like it's for people to have a place where they belong. And I do it wrong. And I think that one of the hardest things is I know there's people I exclude all the time. There's people who don't feel that invitation. They don't feel that connection. They're like, well, I wasn't ever invited. And
the reality of that is that list is like, what, 6 billion,
right.
700?
Exactly.
The line has to be drawn somewhere.
Yeah. And so but to say, I'm not going to do it perfectly, but once again, it's not going to stop me from trying.
Yeah. Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always feel bad for the situations. We talk to like city and county people at times and they'll say, oh, that sounds nice, but like we can't really exclude anybody because we're Union County, so we have to include everybody and just different situations where that comes up. Like, oh, it's
nice to live in a world where you just recognize grace. that's given to you, you know?
I was
Like,
just gonna say that's the point, kind of the point of this whole Good Stuff Marysville, the podcast. Like, focus on the good. There's other stuff.
Yeah.
But let's at least
Absolutely.
make an attempt to focus on the good. So there's that component.
and I think ultimately when you talk about the benefit that can come out of building a sense of belonging, you know, giving a person a sense of belonging, particularly in the way that you're doing it with the mindset, the eternal mindset that you have, it literally can be both physically and eternally life-saving, right?
And just for anyone to know that they're seen. I mean, that makes a difference for all of us. That person who like stops and looks us in the eyes. I'm bad at that, but those people, it changes my whole day when a person looks at me and cares for me.
Yeah, I am so guilty, especially at places like the grocery store. It's not that I intentionally don't look at you. I get so laser focused. Like my goal is to get in, get all the stuff and get out and not have to go back to the back of the store because I forgot something. And, well, usually people have to stop. Usually people have to stop me. But yeah, there's times where people be like,
she knows she needs to be social. She doesn't do it. I'm the like, oh, hey, remember that guy that like we had science class together and I sat behind you or whatever? Like, I'm more of that. And she's like, I have no idea who that is.
I have no idea.
Which is a hard thing when you've lived in a community your whole life, right? I just smile and nod. I'm like, oh, yeah, I remember. I don't remember.
No, I don't. I don't. Is this, how do I know you? Is it dance? Is it like just the community? Is it church? Is it, I don't have any idea.
So not to go into the whole story, but I've got a story of like recognizing somebody at the coffee shop from pictures on their wall from a house that I showed once.
Not awkward or anything.
Thankfully, our parents knew each other, so I at least had some connection to make an awkward entrance into it, and now I see him at the coffee shop on a regular basis. So
Okay, good.
But that's where I was going to go with that kind of your last couple of questions. You know, like my best friend, one of my best friends, you know, I think a best friend, boyfriend. We joke, but
not my boyfriend.
His,
Yes,
I don't know.
No, I've got good friends that were clients and started as clients, you know, so kind of from a similar standpoint, that's become a lot of my community world. And so, like, what's the long tail of, do you have a story of like, oh, somebody random at church or somebody, whatever, I did this nice thing for, and like, it's created relationship, it's created life, not just a moment, but, and to me, that's what everything's about, is that life, not just those little moments and stuff. And
I feel like almost every relationship I have or friendship is because of an intentional effort they took or I took. And I think we often believe that friendships happen on accident. Like you just wake up one day and you have these great friends. But it's taken intentionality.
Yes.
And so I led a women's retreat this summer. Last summer, I just was like, oh, hey, I kind of want to do something. So I texted a number of women.
You mean the normal thing people just come up with?
And so I texted a number of women, and a few of them said
this is the part of the segment that is not for, you know, the like, oh, just give me something manageable.
Yeah, that's right. And so it was a very random group of people who didn't know each other.
That's awesome.
And out of that first retreat I did, we have monthly dinners together, and these women who don't know each other beforehand now are texting each other, taking meals to one another when they're sick, who care about each other. They don't even all live in Marysville.
That's awesome.
But have these incredible relationships because they said yes to something. And I was like, I couldn't have done that. Like, that's not me. I just facilitated an opportunity for community, and it's so fun to see. Like, now we don't just have a one-on-one relationship. We have a community that is just incredible.
That's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of to take it to a small point. To me, that's kind of the formula for life.
Yeah.
What's something you can do that helps build the future and improve on?
Yeah.
You know, you can do the 1% better a day or 1% a day better kind of idea. But what's something you can do to do better and do better in work and your personal life and your family life with your friends and building community and all of those things that builds to more and better for everybody.
And I think there's so many easy ways in our world to do it too. Like Venmo is a great way to be like, send somebody $5 for coffee or, you know, say, hey, I'm thinking of you. Here's diaper money or some of those things. And maybe it's not all money though. It's just a text or like you said, a card just to see people and to notice them.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the unexpected, unplanned, like, yeah, the very random. Oh, I wasn't expecting that from you.
Yeah.
We hadn't been. It's not like we had been in the middle of the conversation. Right. You were like, by the way, I care about you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just a very random. Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot you even knew me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so meaningful.
Yeah, there's a pastor in another church that I got to know at the coffee shop, and going through a rough patch myself. There were times where he'd like feel like, you know, kind of look at your soul. Yeah. How are you? You know, and that was just so impactful for me. I remember talking to her about it, of just like, somebody sees you and they're like genuinely asking, and it's that, right? You know, because it's not in the middle, and you know, he didn't. And I think I told him a year or two after, like, that was significant, and so the impact those can have, it does make quite a difference. But
so we like to pose a challenge every week, and we asked you to come up with a challenge. So, what would that be?
So thinking big, broadly, I love the quote, "Be who you needed when you were younger." Yeah. And that encourages me to think about people who are maybe in phases of life that I've been through or seasons I've gone through, but also reminds me of people who have done that for me.
Sure.
And so to ask that question and say, be who you needed when you were younger, or when you were sick, or when you were struggling. And how can each of us see someone this week who we might overlook if we didn't intentionally ask that question? You know, who are those people that we can actually see and be there for? And even just one person to reach out and say, hey, I see you. Yeah. And here's what I want to take you to coffee. I want to just let you know I care about you. I'm praying for you. I see you. Yeah. Just find a person that might be overlooked that you can care for.
Well, I love that for two reasons. The obvious, we get to reach out and care for somebody else. But two, I think it gives you a chance to kind of look back on your life and go, what were those seasons where somebody impacted me, recognizing that, and then two, being able to say, you know, maybe there was purpose in that suffering, or maybe there was more than what I've gotten out of it so far, right? Is there somebody else I can reach out to who actually I hadn't thought about it, but is going through the same thing I went through, and I might be able to lend some support or and maybe even give healing for yourself, right? Through whatever you went through. Yeah, I love that. That's awesome. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, good deal. Thank you so much. Thank you for that challenge. Get out there, be kind to somebody, and see someone. But yeah, thanks for chatting. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and
absolutely
weren't too bored by my ramblings. I kept it to the minimum.
No, it was great. Thank you all so much.
And thank you for continuing to do good in the community, for being authentic and genuine in how you're investing in other people. And if you think of other awesome good stuff you want to come back and chat with us about, you're always welcome. Or if you think of other people who you're like, guys, you've got to talk to, fill in the blank.
Yep.
Okay.
We love it.
Awesome. So thanks for listening, and talk to you next time.
Thanks.
Yay.